said, the goal of this is you to watch this, you to be able to play it or want to play it. And if you do want to play it, you can watch this and be like, okay, I'm going to pick my character. I have a very good idea how to play the game now. Now I want to play some people. This is the goal of this stream right here. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to talk about defense. Defense is the most important thing in any fighting game. Defense is going to make or break a fighting game. It's going to mean I want to play this game or I don't want to play this game. So it's always good to know the defense. Now, with defense, does your character have an uppercut? Every character in this game does not have an uppercut. Some characters are going to have an uppercut. Some characters are not going to have an uppercut. These two characters on the screen do have invul uppercuts. So, always see, does your character have an uppercut? Now, one thing I will warn you, uppercuts in this game are super highly risky. You do not want to uppercut or wake up unless you just really know. Because here's the thing about uppercuts. What's up, Baha? Here's the thing about uppercuts. Uppercuts can get you SSM. Super special move. Uppercuts have a lot of recovery. So we're going to make her block. Just like any other fighting game, right? If you uppercut, it's all about risk reward. If I uppercut, this whole time I cannot block. So before you see that animation where he's going down, I can't block. Charlotte can literally SSM me. Now, same thing with her. She uppercuts, you see all of that recovery, correct? So uppercuts are super risky in this game because of the high damage output in this game. Now, I'm going to just show a couple of examples because I don't want to go too deep into the punishment. But I'm going to show a couple of examples of things that, like, if I block this, you see how unsafe she is? That's 330, right? Now look at the damage. Do you really want to uppercut in Samurai Shodown when the money is on the line? When you are in bracket, are you going to risk that uppercut? That's the stuff you got to ask yourself. This game is risky as hell to uppercut on wake up. It's better to just block. Because the problem with it is, if you are fighting an upper level player, they're going to SSM your shit. And they're going to KO you. Because the round is pretty much over at that point. A couple more pokes and they win. They would have to basically rely on Issen to probably try to beat you. But my point is, this is not like any other fighting game where if you like uppercut, it's like, oh, it's just a slap. It's like 30%. I'm good. I can keep fighting. Like, no, like you lose your whole life bar in this game. So I would be very careful about like uppercutting. That's the first thing I wanted to put out there. So, like I said, every character will not have an uppercut. Some characters have an uppercut, and if they do, you just want to know that so you can punish according. Alright, so with that being said, because you cannot burst that. Like when you uppercut, you cannot burst. But if I hit like her with like a 2-hit normal or something, she could burst. Or if I just hit her with a button, she could burst. But the initial hit, she cannot burst. So if I H her, if I do that, all that damage is guaranteed. All of that damage is guaranteed. But if I do this, you see how that's 2 hits? I'm gonna show y'all this. You see how I can burst that? Her H is 2 hits. So you can actually burst that. So that makes her H a little weaker, because for a punish, she wouldn't get a lot of damage because you can burst that. Maru's is 1 hit, you can't burst that. So that's that. Now to talk about, and I have a specific order I'm going in, so just bear with me. So I'm going to talk about rolling. So you can roll back in this game. You can roll forward in this game. And you can neutral tech in this game. Now, this is just like any other SNK game where when you neutral tech, in this game, your throw protection is there, right? You're not going to get thrown on wake up. because you just have way too much throw protection on the neutral tech. So neutral tech, and you don't have to worry about somebody running up and throwing you. It's just not going to work. And that's most SNK games. King of Fighters is like that. Fatal Fury is like that. But when you roll, you start giving up your throw protection. So at the end of your roll, you can be thrown, because the throw protection is gone. But neutral tech is like very strong. And most SNK games, because of the throw protection there, it's just no longer. So keep that in mind when you are rolling on the ground. But you still need to roll. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, rolling is good because you never want your opponent to know your wake up time every single time. If you neutral tech every time, they're going to have like setups, safe jumps, and all crazy stuff that can put you in bad situations. So you always want to know, like, okay, I should tech roll back because they're used to me tech rolling forward, or I should tech roll neutral because they're used to me tech rolling in general, so they might not read it. Because you have to read rolls in this game. Now, I've seen some like OSs and stuff, like where you can read rolls and stuff, but we're not here to talk about OSs. We're here to talk about the nature of the game. And generally the nature of the game is you're reading rolls. If somebody rolls, you want to read it, and then you want to be on top of their wake up to try to pressure them. It's like the whole dynamic of the rolling mechanic. Now I want to talk about dodge. Now, dodge is a very, very important mechanic. And like I said, we're going over the defense first in the game. So dodge, the cool thing about dodge is dodge can dodge a lot of things that in general you would probably think it wouldn't. So in this game, because usually you can throw dodges, right? In this game, you can actually dodge throws. So if she runs up and tries to throw me, I can dodge it, which is a very essential part of this game, because since throws are like unbreakable, and we'll talk about throws a little later when I get to the offensive section, but throws are completely unbreakable. It's like a guard break in this game. So when you get thrown, you can't break it. The only way out would be me backdashing, me dodging, or like me jumping, or something of that nature to try to get out of the situation at hand, right? So the good thing about dodge is it can avoid attacks too. Like if you have a read on an attack, especially something like very like a single hit attack that you could dodge. I have a very good example against Yashimaru's like 66C, because if you dodge it, he lands behind you and you can get a full punish. But in this case, and also dodges can go through projectiles too. So like if Charlotte did a projectile, hers might be so like active. So let me think. Yeah, so you could still eat through that. So like stuff like that, you have the option of doing. But dodge is really good against throws because throws have a lot of recovery. I'm gonna just show you throw recovery right quick. So I'm gonna have her throw, and I'm holding up this whole time, right? This is all the recovery, right? So if she runs at me and tries to throw, and this is why throws in this game are like super risky, but you have to do them to a degree. You still need to do them, but throws are like super risky. So she runs up and tries to throw me. Now, I'm going to make her, I'm blocking this whole time, right? I'm going to make her run up and throw me, and then I'm going to dodge it. That was recovery. So imagine going for a throw and losing literally all of your life. That happens in this game at a high level, like consistently happens. Because all the player is doing when they input the dodge, they're doing the super during that the dodge. They're just buffering the super. So if your throw misses, they're gonna get SSM. You can even do a weapon flip technique if you have it. So throwing is like super risky because dodge is so good. Now, if it's so good, you're gonna ask Nash, if it's so good, what do I do about it? Well, that is when you just have to bait it out. Like dodges, the thing about dodges, they still have recovery. So like if I know that my opponent likes to dodge when I run at them, why don't I just run stop? If I run stop, they probably will actually do a dodge, and then I just baited them out. So I do this, So that was too slow. So that's going to be slower, right? But with 5B, I can actually hit it on reaction every single time. You see what I mean? Because it's faster. So I'm catching that recovery frames every time. And the whole point of me running up and stopping is to look for how my opponent reacts to me run stopping. Because if they think I'm going to run up and throw, they might commit to the dodge. Now, me 5 seeing it would just be a read. Like, I would literally have to commit like that. It wouldn't be like me reacting to the situation. It would be like more of a read. Like, I know he's probably going to dodge. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to press 5C. Because you don't have all the time in the world to hit that. You have to be pretty fast. But just to show, those do have like mad recovery. You can even do this. You can do a dash attack. So if I run stop, see you, dodge, then I could just dash attack you and combo you anyway. So dodges have mad recovery, and you can late throw like that. So you have options, right? You have plenty of options. So my point is, dodge is, as good as it is, it's still risky. Because also you can like jump on a dodge, but you have to do it like a little preemptive. But that's an option. So dodging, while it is like super good, it's also super risky, especially if your opponent knows you're gonna dodge. Okay. Now to deflect. Now deflect is one of the most interesting mechanics of the game, and I think it's one of the most fun in general because it can change the tide of a battle instantly. It can make you win a whole like set, or it could force the opponent to lose the set just because they lost their weapon or they got deflected in general. So deflect, it's going to be quarter circle forward, A plus B. And deflect is another one. It's a read. Like, now some things you can reactionary deflect, but it's not many things in this game that you're just reactionary deflecting. Like, you're generally reading your opponent. Now, one thing I'll say about any move like that a person swings with their weapon, you can deflect. So when a person swings with their weapon, generally it's going to be deflectable. There's moves in the game that are not deflectable, but generally those are like kicks or some like moves that just do not use your weapon. Like, if I do that, you can't deflect that. That's his hand. There's nothing to deflect. But if I do far B, you can deflect that. Now, one of Charlotte's things, because I am now a Charlotte main, like I main 3 characters right now. I main Charlotte, I main Iroha, and I main Gungsung Lee. Those are like the 3 characters that I'll be competing in the circuit with. For now, especially in my mind, these are the 3 characters I'm locked in on. So one of Charlotte's weaknesses would be that she is susceptible to deflect because she swings with her weapon a lot. Whether it be her far A, 2A, far B, 2B, like something like that. She's always using her weapon. So that could be a weakness. Now, at a higher level, the better you get at this game, that is not a weakness because you can alter your timings, and if you have very good timings, she's not going to be getting deflected. But that comes with like experience of the game, just knowing the game and knowing how your opponent is playing and keeping them out. That's a whole nother discussion that we'll get to at the end of this. But for now, for somebody starting off, that'll probably be a little bit of a weakness because they'll be trying to use all of her normals to keep you out. And that is how you play Charlotte. But the thing about Charlotte, to play her at a high level, you have to alter your timings a lot. And anybody that's like familiar with like a Chun-Li or something like that, this play style is very common to me. That's why I gravitated towards Charlotte, and it made sense, right? So with that being said, Charlotte has moves that she's going to be swinging with her weapon, and you can deflect these normals and go into like different types of punishes. Now, like, let's say Charlotte has a habit of doing, she has a very short jump. She jumps like Balrog, like a very, very short jump. So like, let's say she does this. like that, right? Every time she jumps in, she does her crouching beat. So me being the player, I'm like, every time he does this, he just does crouching beat. Like he jumps in and he does crouch beat. How about I try to deflect him? Right. So now I read my opponent's attack patterns, their attack habits, and I'm able to get a deflect. So now you ask, okay, Nash, what do I do with this deflect? Your opponent is highly unsafe. Now it depends. They're more unsafe depending on the level of attack. So if they do a light and you deflect that, it's not going to be the same recovery as a heavy. Like, it's just going to be different. So all of the deflects are different recovery, but they're all punishable. So this is a medium attack that she's doing. So if I wanted to do just a basic combo, I could do something like that, right? Basic ass punish, like nothing complicated about it. But I can SS it. So what you want to see, I'm gonna block after this. So I'm gonna make Charlotte empty jump and do this. I'm blocking the whole time. You see the timer still ticking, I'm still blocking, I'm still holding down back, right? So I'm gonna show y'all. That it was guaranteed. So that is like a big thing about this game, is getting deflect reads and SSMing. Especially if your character has a good ranged SSM, or if they because some characters actually, their SSM literally goes full screen. Like they go at you, so even if you like deflect outside here, you can still get a punish. Some characters you're gonna have to dash SSM, because some characters do not have any range. Like a Biken's SSM, she has 0 range on it, versus like a Haomaru who has a lot more range. You see what I mean? So it's like, depending, like his range is way better. Biken's is literally damn near in place. So your character, you're gonna have to see if your character's SSM goes far, if it like lunges forward, because like a Ukyo, he lunges forward when he does his. A Chom Chom, like literally same thing, she bolts at you. And then some characters, it's just different. Even Shizumaru, he literally throws his umbrella full screen. So it just depends on your character. You kind of want to check their range on it, because deflect punishes can be pretty dangerous from all ranges with some characters. And some characters you literally have to do dash SSM. Like you literally have to do this type of deal after the deflect. So like if you deflect from out here, some characters you have to dash in and then do the SSM. So learning how to dash super is like super important in this game, like 1000%. So make sure that you know the risk behind deflect. But like I said, deflect, look at all that recovery. You still have recovery. So if I'm altering my timings, like if I hit her and then she thinks I'm gonna hit her again, on reaction I can hit that, right? Same thing. If you're locked in, you switch the timing, somebody thinks you're gonna hit them, somebody thinks that you're gonna hit them, you switch up the timing, now I got a dash attack. You switch up the timing, now I got a stand C punish. So understanding how to punish deflects is super important, because with Charlotte, not only do sometimes I just far B deflects, but sometimes if I'm in range, I'll just 2C a deflect on reaction. Like if I deflect, I'm gonna like be in range and I'll just 2C it, so I can get you know, more damage on the punish, because her dash attacks aren't as good as like a Haomaru or somebody. Okay, so next defense, Backdash, of course, staple in fighting games. Very good in this game because you avoid throws, and throws are a big part of this game and a very dangerous part of the game, but something that people do because, I mean, you can't break them. So throws, just knowing that you can backdash is very important, and just getting space in this game. Backdash is just good because you get that space. Space is always good in a fighting game because you control it. So like if she runs up and just tries to throw me, and I do backdash, I could just punish her. You see what I mean? And like stuff like that is good, especially even if you have a read, you can do stuff like that. So knowing that backdash is an option in neutral is super important, because a person can just be like, okay, every time I run at him, he backdashes. So you just commit. You commit with a button. Now, like I said, everybody's dash attack is not going to be strong. So I'll go over that a little bit later. But yeah, backdash is very strong in this game. So I do recommend that you do backdash. Everybody's backdash is not going to be the same. But just note that backdashing is very, very strong in this game. Alright, so next to Just Defend. So Just Defend, if you're familiar with Fatal Fury, you know about Just Defend mechanic. Just Defend mechanic in this game is super duper important. Super duper important. Knowing about Just Defend, especially like, let's say she shoots a projectile at me. Let's reset position. So I'm gonna do it right here. There we go. Her fireball is a little weird, but here. So you see me just defending, right? I'm like blinking, I'm glowing, and you see me just defending. I'm just pressing down, back, right when the projectile makes contact. And you also see this little fiery gauge going up, which is my rage gauge, right? Rage is very important in this game. Having rage, especially depending on your character, because every character in rage will do more damage, but they have rage special moves. So a character might have a crazy rage special move. Like Hanzo has a crazy fireball special move that gets enhanced when he's enraged. It's absolutely ridiculous. So depending on your character, different you'll get different rage benefits. So I'm just defending, and also when you're just defending, you're taking no chip and you're getting your rage gauge up. So that's why I said earlier, zoning is not the strongest in this game. It's like, okay, it's still good because it's controlling space, but it's not it won't win you a whole game just because you're running. Because at the end of the day, the person on defense could just keep just defending your projectile. So now I'm in rage. When Hao is in rage, his uppercut gets enhanced. So like Rage Haomaru is like absolutely ridiculous. On top of when you are in rage, you can weapon flip. So because she went in rage, she can now flip the weapon out of my hand, and now I got to get my weapon back. So being in rage is like really, really good. But the whole point is just defend is a super good defensive mechanic, because like I said, you take no chip and you're getting rage the whole time. And with just defend, you can also do this really cool mechanic. It's like a guard cancel. And for the purpose of this, I'm gonna call it guard cancel because that's generally what it is. So if you just defend, I'm gonna show y'all this. So like, let's say I'm getting tired of Charlotte jumping at me, because she jumps really low, and I just want to reset neutral. If you just defend and you press A plus B, you will push the opponent off of you. Like that. And if you push the opponent off of you, you just reset neutral. So not only are you getting a little bit of rage meter because of that just defend, but you're just pushing your opponent back to neutral, which is like really, really good. Because in a lot of situations, if there's like an awkward jump or an awkward meaty that you don't want to deal with, like even like if she did something like that and I just want to push her off of me just to reset neutral, you have that option. So just defend guard cancel is going to be one of the most important things you're going to learn today, because it's the difference in you taking offense or you reset a neutral, especially against somebody like Yoshi, whose jump in is like absolutely ridiculous. You would need to know how to just defend into a guard cancel, because that's gonna come in handy in a lot of matchups and a lot of situations where they're like super uncomfortable situations and you just don't want to guess. And if somebody commits to that meaty on you, you can just push them off of you and reset neutral. So that's super important. Unique to this game and not like any other game is jumping in this game. So when you jump in this game, you see how I have landing frames? Like if I just regularly hold up or up back, if you do that, you have like mad recovery. However, you can do something called a combo jump in this game where you press up again right when you land and you'll like re-jump. And this is good because you won't get caught in those same landing frames that you were caught in just like holding up. Because you never want to jump like that. That's like not really good. But being able to like combo jump is like super strong. But the thing I wanted to talk about is like the wake up in this game. So in this game, you have like a 1-frame jump. Like you can jump and you really can't meet people with like actual like 2Ds. Like if you try to 2D somebody on wake up, they can just jump. They're not gonna be. You're not gonna be able to 2D somebody. You're not gonna be able to 2D somebody's wake up. So I'm gonna make her jump as a reversal. So every time she hits the ground, she's gonna jump, right? So I'm gonna just put it on down. So I hit her. Oh, it's not on. I was like, what the hell? Okay, now it's on. I hit her. Y'all see that? Like how my kick just went through her? It's not me missing my timing. It's because it's a 1-frame jump. So you cannot do like 2Ds meaty on somebody. The only way to hit somebody with a low and they're 1-frame jumping, you have to have a different hitbox on your attack. Like if you have a different hitbox, like a Nakaru's 66D would hit a jump because the hitbox on her foot goes upwards and it can actually hit jumps on startup because the hitbox is just huge. Same with like Ukyo's his 3D. When you do it on somebody's wake up, it will hit the jump because of the hitbox of the move. So you have to actually have the correct hitbox to hit somebody if you're going for a low for it to hit meaty. Now, generally speaking, you could just, like if you do something like this, you just hit them with a like you don't even have to like start guessing, trying to hit them low or anything. If somebody's holding up, you either if you really know they're gonna hold up, I'm not gonna hold you. If you know they're gonna hold up, you can just highly commit, especially if you're fighting somebody that's like a little lower level and they're like holding up every single time and you're just like, oh, he's holding up. You can just commit to a heavy on their wake up because it's like the worst thing you get put in a recoil mind game. For how Maru, that's not that bad. For other characters, it might be a little worse. But you get put in a recoil mind game. But some people, if you want like a less committal, you can just go for like a medium. I can't even time his. There we go. So you would go for something a little less committal versus like just committing with this. But if you know, because some people are afraid of throws, so they're gonna hold up. Like you have that option. But I would play around with your character to see like what the best meaty is for your character. Like I said, like if you're a Nakaruru player, 66D is gonna make you the money because 66D is like super good in a situation to just keep re-meatying your opponent, and it loops into itself, so you can just keep doing it over and over and over until your opponent blocks. Then when your opponent blocks, you can just throw them. That is the thing about wake up options, but knowing that you do have a 1-frame jump on wake up is really good and really beneficial, because if somebody is doing like fake meaties, like fake low meaties that do not have that hitbox that I was explaining, then you could literally just hold up on them and they would have to read it or hit you with a mid or hit you with a jump in. It's like a lot of ways to like stop wake up jump, but it's an option. Like you should never like rule out that option, because wake up jump is definitely strong. It's just a lot of counterplay to it, especially when you're fighting somebody a lot better than you. It's like a lot of counterplay. Yes, the jumps off the ground are 1-frame, so you're not going to be able to like knock somebody down and do like something like that. Like a 2D is not going to work. It's not going to work. it'll never work. But I'll show you, I'll show a demo of what I was talking about, and then I'll go right back to what I was showing. So I'm gonna show y'all this. So if I do something like this, this is auto time, by the way. I do this, I jump forward, and I 6-6D. You see how that actually meatied her? But if I were to do that, it's gonna miss. But one frame jump will still lose to a meaty, but you just have to make sure your low has a big hitbox. And as you see, her boots kind of go upwards, so it's gonna catch a jump because it's just like super meaty and the hitbox goes like up forward. So if I do this, it's gonna always meaty. She's never gonna be able to hold up right there. So I just wanted to show that example. So with burst slash Issen, to burst, you're gonna do ABC all together, and you're gonna get a burst, like a little rage meter while you're in the burst state. It's gonna be a little less with full life because, of course, it would be broken if you had just a whole thing of meter when you were like just starting the match. But when you're a little lower on life, let me put her off of recovery. So if you're a little lower on life, it's gonna be a little different, right? So now if she bursts, I'm gonna have her burst. Look at the meter. So this whole time she is in burst, and she can Issen you. She presses the 3 buttons again, she gets an Issen. And she's gonna dash across the screen with invul frames, and it's gonna do more damage if you have more Issen gauge. It's gonna do a little less when the gauge is running out. So knowing that is like super important. Like when you do pop burst, you kind of know like, okay, I pop burst, I'm low on life, I need to make a play, because also when you're in rage, you can weapon flip. And now I flipped her weapon out of her hand, and now she is weaponless. And we're gonna get into that part more so in the offensive part of this. But once she's weaponless, she's just a little more defenseless. So like when you are in rage and when you do not have your weapon, you cannot burst. You are cooked. You cannot burst, you cannot do anything. All you could do is try to hit your opponent and get your weapon back. That's like the most. And you can also, this is your deflect animation without your weapon. So if I swing into this, she's gonna catch my weapon like that, kick me back, and now I'm weaponless. So that's a pretty cool thing that you could do when you're weaponless. You could try to catch your opponent's weapon and flip it out of their hand. Because generally speaking, when you don't, when somebody is weaponless, a lot of people start trying to like maybe like poke and keep the opponent out. But at the end of the day, especially when I'm Charlotte, I jump a little bit more when the opponent doesn't have a weapon, because it's going to be harder for them to deal with it versus me swinging normals and then they just deflect it, you know? So but yes, burst is going to be a very, very critical mechanic in the game, and Issen is going to be the part of the game that most people know about and have seen in the game in general is the Issen. And instant super just dashes across the screen, very dangerous. And when somebody does pop burst, it's very devastating if they start running at you, because you're afraid to just get thrown because you don't want to get weapon flipped. So it's like a whole different mind game when you are in the burst state. A whole different mind game. It's like when you think about it, you have to play like safe, but you don't want to play too safe, because then you're giving your opponent way too much respect. And you want to have a middle ground. You don't want to play way too safe and do nothing, because your opponent's just going to run up to you, throw you, and then weapon flip you anyway. But you want to play safe enough to where you don't give up damage. Because if you jump, that's an easy Issen. Like if somebody were to jump, you just time it for their landing frame. Just like that. It's nothing she could do about that. So That would be like the only thing about it. You want to have a middle ground. So that's why most people, they start pressing lights when you are, because even so, if it bounces off your block, you're not going to punish them. You're not going to be able to punish them. But like a heavy or a medium button, you can like instant Issen. So that's a lot of mind games to that mode, and with that, I would recommend just being in the situation, because it's easy to say what you would do. It's something you need to put yourself in, like the situation, you need to put yourself in that situation multiple times, and then you'll be able to get out of it a lot better once you put yourself in that situation. Because it's easy to look at the game and be like, oh, I'm gonna just do this when they burst. Nah, it never plays out like that. It's like a player-to-player thing. It's definitely a player-to-player thing. With this being said, we're gonna get into the offense of the game, and the offense is super important in this game. The way offense plays, like the defense, I think is the most important, but offense in this game is going to basically make or break how you play the game, and you could choose how you want to play the game. If you want to play like super offensive, you could do that. If you want to play super defensive, you could do that. You want to play passive, in between, etc., you could do that, right? Just depends. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about offense and normals, and knowing your normals, knowing what kind of normals you're looking for, etc., So, these are going to be his far A normals, which have like pretty decent range. Okay, damage. And then you also always want to check, because some characters' buttons might be a low. You never know. So you always want to check if it's a low or if it's not a low. So those are not lows. Okay, now we get to the B normals. 5B is like really good. Like super good normal. It has a lot of reach, a lot of range on it. 2B is not as much range, but this is special cancelable. So this normal is like super good when you are in rage state, because you have weapon flip and you can hit confirm it. So looking for special cancelable far normals is also very important in this game, to see if the character can cancel a special move off of their far normals. Like somebody like Jubei, he can instantly cancel his far B into a DP and get a combo, right? Haomaru cannot cancel this normal. It's just a poke to keep you out and keep you respected. Let me turn her life back on auto recovery. So it's just more of like a respect normal. If your opponent's running at you, get back. Get back. It's more like a get back move, right? Space control. You're just trying to control your space, make the opponent respect you. Like I said, this is going to be for a weapon flip, basically. It's going to be hit confirmable. So you look for this more like if somebody was running at you and you had rage, you could just hit confirm this. So I'm going to make that like right there. So you're looking, you would be more so fishing for this to hit, so you, when it makes contact, you can just instantly weapon flip. So super important to know that. And now on his C normals, this is the classic Haomaru poke that freezes the game. His stand C is very good, 300 damage. It hurts. It hurts a lot. He has crouch C. Now crouch C, while it would look like you would want to like anti-air with that, you wouldn't. It's like super slow. It could get stuffed easily, etc., etc. You have to be a little more preemptive with it. But he has uppercut, so he can anti-air jumps fine. So you don't ever need to use crouch C as an anti-air. Now up close, he can actually special cancel, so that's really cool. So you also want to see your up close normals too, because they change. On the wiki they'll be called like near normals, but here I'm gonna just call them close normals. So you look at your close normals and see how your close normals work, because they could be a little different, and they could also be like special cancelable. So you always want to see like how those normals interact with your opponent. Like that's close B. And see, you see the far B is that, close B is that. So yes, this game has close and far normals. So you definitely want to make sure you know the difference, because like I said, close B, he can actually special cancel. So understanding, same with Charlotte, like how she has this really good far B, but her close B, she can actually cancel it. So knowing close and far normals is super important in this game. And of course, every character's D normals are like their kick normals. So knowing like their kicks normals, he has 2D. This is his stand D. This is his 6D. So, kick normals cannot be deflected. So kick normals are like really good in this game, because if you want to like alter timing and you don't want to get deflected, kick normals would definitely be the way to go, because they're not deflectable. Like Charlotte has a really good kick normal because she just lunges at you, and she has very good range on her 2D. And these moves cannot be deflected. So if somebody is like super deflectable, yo, Shaka with the prime, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that resub. If somebody is like super deflect happy, then rotating to your kick normals is like pretty important, I would say. Especially because everybody's kick normals are going to be a little different. Some are going to be better than others. Like Charlotte, like hers are really good. But yeah, it's just going to be depending on the character. So you kind of want to just lab your character and see what type of like kick normals they have and go from there. But also with normals, I want to talk about dash attacks next. Every character comes with dash attacks except for Iroha. Like she doesn't have dash attacks because she just hops. But everybody else pretty much has a dash attack. So Haomaru's 66A is his punch, the notorious punch. Just an active ass punch that goes forward and has good range, good active frames, and it's good if somebody is like a deflect monster. He can't special cancel it or anything, but it's just a really good poke to just throw out, like if you're advancing. And generally safe on block if you space it right. If you space it like really bad, like yeah, you can get punished. But especially depending on certain matchups, they're gonna have a very slow far reach of normal, so he'll be safe anyway. So as you see how much space that's controlling. And depending on if somebody's like standing, you see how like if she's standing, how that's whiffing that same range. But if she actually just sits on crouch block, her hitbox is a lot bigger, so I'm making contact. So you want to make sure that you're not whiffing it if somebody tries to, like if they're running forward and trying to put this on your block, if you were to be walking back, it might whiff, unless they do it a little closer, which would mean that they do it a little deeper and they could get punished for it. Then his 66B, which is his really good dash attack, you wouldn't really be throwing this out too much on block because it's highly unsafe. And you would be put in a recoil mind game that you might not want to go into. So you wouldn't really want to be throwing that out too much. You would want to throw it out on a whiff punish. So like, let's see, if Charlotte whiffs that, that was a whiff punish. That was a clean whiff punish. So I'm catching Charlotte's recovery with this dash attack. So if you're, you're wiggling back and forth, you're trying to make her press that far B, and you have to give her enough space to press it. So like right about here is probably like the hot spot, and then right here, that'd be a punish. But the dash normal, you would either want to use it as a straight punish if somebody like whiffs something like really badly in your face, like, or like let's say she does this, right, and she's outside of range, I might just dash in and punish her, even though I can just far see her from way more reward. In the heat of the moment, sometimes you don't do the max punish because you just want quick damage, so you might just dash in and do that. Or if you throw her, you would just be like, oh, I can get my dash attack. So next move will be 66C, which this move, like I said, moves like this because this, as you see, doesn't have no recoil, but he's like super unsafe, so she's going to punish him. But the thing about this move is good if somebody like is jumping, like let's say they're jumping a lot and you run under them and then you hit them on the other side like that. Like that move would be good in that situation. Like if you were running under somebody and you just punish them, you wouldn't really just be throwing it out. I mean, you could throw it out as like a whiff punish, but I would rather dash B because you'll get much more of a reward if somebody just whiffs. Like, wow, that was active. Like if I do that, that's 151, right? Versus if I actually do his dash attack. I'm just using this as an example. Like Charlotte won't be really throwing this out like that, but I'm just using this as a whiff punish example, just for the sake of it. You get way more damage off the dash B. So dash normals are really important, and you have your 6-6D. Now House is definitely not as good as like a Nakaruru or something, but it exists. It's there. Like Charlotte's is definitely better in my opinion. House is like super unsafe. So you would definitely, even so hitting it at tip range is still like not the best, because that's all recovery. So learning your dash normals and how good they are is going to be different, because same thing, Charlotte's are completely different. Her 6-6A is used as an anti-air, like a dash under anti-air, or even if somebody's just running at you, you can anti-air with it. 6-6B is a good range poke, but it's not special cancelable, unlike Howl's. Her 6-6C, a little better because it's harder to punish depending on the character. It's like hugely character dependent. It's unsafe, but depending on the character, they might not get a good punish, or they can't punish you at all. It just depends. And her 6-6D, not the best 6-6D at all, but it's pretty solid. It's not that bad. It's like much better than his in my opinion. Just my opinion on that. Okay, that's it for dash normals. Now we talk about throws. Like I said before, throws are unbreakable because it's more like a guard break. Throws in this game are more like a guard break. I broke your guard, now I get a free combo. So knowing what your character's throw route is super important, because everybody's throw route will be different. Even with back throws, some characters get different routes with back throws. So it really just depends on the character, because some characters get like different routing, because you just saw that was guaranteed. So if I forward throw and I try to do that, that doesn't work. But if I back throw, you have much more frame advantage. So that's actually guaranteed, and you get 240. So forward throw and back throw do differ the combo. Like there can be a different route you could do based on if you forward throw or back throw. But generally speaking, Hal can do dash attack, which is really good. And if you back throw, you can do a stand C. Now with Charlotte is different, because Charlotte literally, her max damage is just 5C. And that's it. Her throw combo is not good at all. It's pretty much on the weaker side. She gets damage, but it's not like a lot, you know, because like somebody like Kyoshiro, if he throws you, he gets a lot of damage off of his 5C, versus if she throws you, she doesn't get any damage off of her 5C. So it kind of just depends. It's like character to character how good a throw is. But in general, throwing is always going to be risky because of dodge, because of backdash, and because of jump. So throw at your own risk, because I already showed y'all what happens. Like if somebody just gets thirsty and tries to run up and throw you, and you just dodge it and then you SSM them, like this is the risk that you're always taking when you try to throw somebody. So you're always taking that type of risk when you're trying to throw somebody. So you have to be careful constantly, like trying to throw somebody. Now here's my thing about throws, because throws are a little controversial in this game, because I've heard people say, hey, throwing is bad, throwing is good, you can't throw at this level, you gotta set up the throw, etc, etc, all of this nonsense. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I've watched tournament footage for the game. I play the game at a pretty high level. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, throws work, but you have to have good throws. That's the difference between a throw in this game. You're not about to just be running up throwing no top level player all day, every day. That's just not going to work. When you force respect, you can throw them, but it's going to be a way you have to force the respect to be able to throw a player. Because at lower level, yes, you're going to be able to throw a lot more because people aren't good at defending throws. But at a higher level, even so, if I were to backdash her, that would be something that I could do. You see what I mean? Like, it's not something that's hard. If I feel like I see her running at me, I might backdash and I whiff the throw. Even at the highest level of players that play this game still whiff throws. I've seen even players at SWC when they were playing run up and whiff a throw because they just kind of got thirsty. They wanted that throw, they wanted that guard break, but they were out of range. They whiffed the throw and they died. So throws are always going to be a risk, but it's something that you have to do. It's something to crack the opponent's defense. On top of when people do defensive pokes like something like this and you block it, you can reversal throw. Because throws are 3 frames in this game. So throws are like really, really fast. So you can instantly just throw somebody reversal timing. It is risky outside of range because if you miss the throw, like you might die. But up close, especially if I jump in, I know my opponent always swings with something like this. You could just reversal throw them as a punish. So there's a lot of instances where you can like reversal throw and actually punish the opponent, but just knowing the core of how throws work and the risk is going to be important. So do you need to rely on throws when you play this game? Hell no, do not rely on throws. Learn how to beat your opponent without a throw. That's the most important thing that I'll teach somebody in Samurai Shodown. Learn how to beat the opponent without having to throw, and then add throws to your game, and it'll make you a dominant factor. Because then at that point, you can just keep somebody out with normals, or you can set play them if you're playing a set play character, etc., etc. You can beat them without having to rely on throws. Because if all your damage comes from throws, and then you fight somebody where you can't throw them, you're literally gonna lose, and you're not gonna be comfortable playing that footsie game, playing that back and forth game that Samurai Shodown has to offer. So you always want to make sure that you are not reliant on throws. Like, that's not where all of your damage comes from, because you should be able to win rounds without a throw. If you can't win a round without a throw, then you need to step up your whole neutral game in this game. But being able to win without a throw, once you add throws to your game, you'll be a monster. But you have to have good throws. You definitely have to know how to throw somebody. And the reason why I'm harping on this is because it's very easy to open your opponent up with a throw. But if you get super used to it and get a habit of it, when you can't throw somebody and they start SSMing you, they start weapon flipping you because you're throwing, they start jumping your throw, and then they hit you, you're gonna hit a wall. And to avoid that wall, you just want to make sure you can win without throws. So, on to the next. Next, let's talk about the reason why Samurai Shodown is different from every single fighting game, which we are going to talk about Recoil and what Recoil has to offer. So, Recoil. When I swing with my weapon, I will always recoil off of your block. Now, light recoil is going to always be, generally speaking, super low negative frames. So it's going to be safe. If I do this, you're not going to be able to, like, reversal hit me. Like, I'm going to be able to block. What's up, Flame? I'm going to always be able to block after, like, a light, because it's just a light recoil. Those are, like, super, super low minus. I don't want to get too much into the numbers, but you can check out the wiki if you want to. But it's, like, low minus, like, -5 around that. Like, where you're just not going to get punished for doing something, like, super light. So these are low committal, and the reason why I say when somebody is in a burst state, when somebody is actually in burst state, the lights are more important because they check dashes if somebody's running at you, and you can also stay safe from getting Issen punished on block. But medium attacks are a lot more unsafe, like -12 kind of universal, but medium attacks are like super, like a little more risky, but it depends on the character and the range that you're putting the opponent at. Because if I do this, Charlotte can't do anything about that. Like, it's nothing that she's going to be able to do to hit me or punish me. So it's going to be matchup specific. But if I do this up close, she's going to be able to hit me. You see what I mean? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put her on reversal. I want the reversal to be on guard, and I'm gonna make her do her crouch B because it's faster, right? So now she's on reversal. Watch this. That's a punish. You see what I mean? That's a punish. So the mediums are like I said, minus 12-ish. So they're gonna be a lot more unsafe, and depending on the character and the range at which this person puts you at, because Charlotte has a lot of reach, so she can still punish Maru from outside of this range. But if you're fighting somebody like Wu or something, she might not be able to reach that. So it's going to be matchup specific how you use your moves on somebody, because if they can't reach you, they can't punish you, and then that factors into the matchup, right? But for Charlotte, she has a lot of reach, so outside of like this range right here, she can still hit him. So you have to be careful with your medium pokes, and of course heavy pokes super unsafe. But you can recoil cancel. Now recoil cancel is a whole nother dynamic that I'll talk about a little bit right here. So you see how I'm doing this medium, I'm getting hit, right? If I DP, it doesn't matter. So that is not enough range. So if I do this and she frame one tries to punish me, I could just uppercut her. And interrupt the whole situation. While it is risky, it's still an option. And like that's the thing about Samurai Shodown, it's all about options. Because you see I can't fierce DP, but I can like medium DP, but I can only do that up close. It's always an option. And you have to just keep your options open, or you can deflect. Like if I know she's gonna swing back, I can always just recoil into that. So that is gonna be a factor of the recoil mind game. If every time I swing this, you go for the punish, guess what? And then I just like SSM. Now you potentially lost a set. So yes, recoil, cancel, and recoil mind games is always going to be the most important part of this game. And if you didn't see any other parts of this, like how to play Sam show, pay attention to this part, because this is the most important part. Learning how to do a button and then read how your opponent reacts to said button. Because like I said, if somebody likes to right there, you see that? So I'm doing something slower, right? But right there, did you see that cancel? I hit her because now I'm mind gaming my recoil cancel, and being able to mind game your recoil cancel is like super important, because if you're able to mind game that recoil cancel, I'm gonna hit her every time. So now she's probably gonna want to block, and she's gonna hesitate when I do my move, so I can potentially get better guard pressure, because in this game you can break somebody's guard once they start blinking red. So I'm gonna show that a little bit. I'm gonna show that mechanic off a little bit, just how that works. So when somebody blinks red, if you do 4 heavies, well with him it's like 3, she's blinking red, you see that? So if I do another heavy, she'll automatically go into a guard break state where I can actually get a free hit, free SSM sometimes, like it just depends on the character, but you get a free hit. So guard pressure is just as important as actually hitting the opponent. Like you don't always have to hit the opponent. Being able to just do guard pressure is like most important. So it's like I do a medium, I do a medium, I do a medium. She's not glowing yet. Let's see. Now she's glowing. So if I hit her with a heavy, she's cooked. And then I SSM. So, to show that is like when you are putting a lot of buttons on your opponent and they're about to start blinking red, then opponent will start trying to play a little more either defensive, or they start playing antsy where they start jumping around and they don't want to take anything on block because they don't want to get guard broken. So keep in mind that, like I said, just defending earlier is like really important, so you can kind of like avoid that situation and you don't get put in that like super duper defensive position where you have to like fight back. So any button strength can guard, like the only button strength that will guard break you is a heavy, but every button adds up to you being guard broken. So if I'm using lights, it's just as good as any other button, but every button has a strength. So if I use just straight fierces, so I'm gonna show a demo of this. This is pretty important. So if I do lights, right? I can make you blink red off of lights, but how many lights is it gonna take is the question. You see how many lights it took? It took like mad lights to get her to blink red. Just like if I do mediums, it's gonna take a few mediums. That was like 8 mediums, and now she's blinking. Versus if you do heavy, she's already blinking. So it just depends on what buttons you are using. It's gonna always alter to get them to start blinking red. So just like keep that in mind, like when you are fighting somebody, have a invisible like counter in your head, like okay, I've hit them with this many times, they're about to get you know, guard broken. Same with jump attacks. Jump attacks are like super powerful in this game too, because you can make somebody blink red off a jump attack too. So just understanding how many attacks you've really put on them without them like fighting back or anything, or the timer going down, is like super important. Like super important. One more time, like when your character's in rage, you do get like an enhanced move. Some characters maybe get 2, some characters might get 1, but how Maru is, his uppercut is like enhanced. So he gets an uppercut enhancement when he is in rage, and Charlotte has her fireball hit multiple times. Like that. So you see that's just hitting multiple times, multiple chip, etc, etc. So rage moves are like super important, because some characters' rage moves are really good. Like I said, Hanzo has a very good rage move with his fireball. Like super good, super devastating when he goes into rage. And it's easy to get rage even if you're just sitting there playing defensive, because you could just defend. Especially if your opponent's shooting fireballs at you, you just defend the projectiles and you can just get a benefit from that, right? So rage moves, super important to know your character's rage moves, so make sure you know those. And then we talk about weapon flip. So when you're in rage, you can weapon flip your opponent with BC. So you'll do quarter circle forward BC, and you'll be able to flip their weapon out of their hands, which is very important in this game, disarming the opponent. So if I do this, I disarm Charlotte. Now she has nothing to work with. Now her whole game is based off of ranged pokes. So now look at her 5B and 2B. She doesn't have those anymore. So now the only thing that she really can do is try to knock me down and get her weapon back. But the cool thing about Charlotte, her 6-6D becomes an overhead. It becomes a pretty fast overhead, hopping overhead, that she can like get her weapon back that way. Because then you would just back up to your weapon. Like if your weapon's back here, you pick up your weapon off the knockdown and you get it back, right? Pretty good. Weapon flips generally do a lot of damage, especially if you like whiff punish. Like if I got like a whiff punish right there, that's 516. Like that's a lot of damage to lose your weapon. And then once you're without your weapon, you can catch your opponent's weapon with 2, 3, 6, A and B together. You can catch your opponent's weapon if they swing at you, and I already showed that a little earlier in the stream. but that could be an option if your opponent is swinging back trying to play defensive, or even if you're like camping their weapon. Like if you are camping over their weapon and I'm just swinging, and she's like, oh, you're just swinging, and she starts doing that, and then bam, now we're both without our weapon, and now she can run up and try to get her weapon back, etc., etc. So now we're both weaponless. So fighting disarmed is definitely something unique, because dash attacks become way more important because they'll knock down and then you can pick your weapon up. Everybody's dash attack is not good though, and like if you're Iroha, like you do not have a dash attack, so she has to rely on 3D to even get a knockdown. So yeah, that's very important. Some characters lose their special moves when they are weaponless as well. Some characters cannot do projectiles anymore. Some characters cannot do damn near anything when they lose their weapon. Like some characters like Galford or something, he still has Poppy, so that's really good. But like losing anything, like where you just don't have any resources, like a Charlotte, like she has nothing. She literally has nothing. So like that's really, really bad if she gets a weapon flip. Some characters are better. Some characters can still fight without their weapon. Like Wan Fu can fight without his weapon relatively well because he has a command grab without his weapon. He can still fight. Or like Gung Sung Lee can still fight without her weapon, because generally that's how she fights. She can disarm herself anyway, so like she can fight without her weapon. Some characters rely heavily on their weapon, so if you do knock their weapon out of their hand with a weapon flip, they are kind of defenseless, and they don't have any offense anymore. So they have to take a risk to try to get their weapon back. So a lot of times you'll see people do like a lot of dash attacks and stuff. So just keep that noted, that disarming your opponent is a very important and crucial part of winning in this game. So a couple of like pointers that I want to talk to y'all about, like quick pointers that I want y'all to get used to if you're trying to pick up the game, and this is why I left this at the end of the section. A couple of things is like jumping over your opponent. I mean, like when somebody jumps over you, because a lot of characters do not have cross-up buttons in this game. Charlotte is blessed. She does come with a cross-up button, but 90% of the cast have no cross-up buttons. There's only a couple of characters with actual cross-up buttons in this game. So I would say in this game, like let's say if she commits, learn how to run under your opponent. That is one of the most important parts of SNK games, period. But in this game specifically, learning how to run under your opponent is like super important, especially in Samsho, because Charlotte jumps low. Everybody else jumps very high. So I'm gonna put another character on the screen. Everybody else jumps pretty high. So knowing how to run under your opponent is like super, super duper important. So I'm gonna just put him against Jubei. I'm gonna just put him against Jubei and show y'all just like how high jumps are in this game, because Charlotte's not a really good example because she has a low jump. Like Warden has like a low jump, but Charlotte has a her jump is so low it's just unrealistic to show just her. You see how high Jubei jumps? So he jumps, I run under. That was a little late. But the concept is like you run under, and like if you know, you run under. Now you can also run under uppercut too, like that. So you have a lot of options, but I wanted to show y'all specifically, you want to learn how to run under your opponent in Samurai Shodown. It's one of the most important things that you can do. So next thing I want to teach y'all, and these are like little pro tips, because it's like, yes, I'm a pro gamer. I'm not a pro specifically in Samurai Shodown because I'm still learning, but I'm a high level player playing the game. So these tips that I'm giving you can get you pro level at the game. So button timing in any fighting game is important. More important in this game because Deflect exists. And you never want to get deflected and lose your weapon or get SSM. So learning how to throw off your timing is very important in this game. What do I mean by timing? I mean, if I have a timing of an auto time, if I do this and then this every time versus my opponent is going to deflect me. So I'm gonna show it from Jubei's perspective. If he does this and this, every time he does two, I'm in tournament setting right now. Okay, my opponent, every time he presses two mediums, bet. I'm about to make him do that again, and I'm gonna deflect him, and I'm gonna SSM punish him. Bet. That's what we're gonna do. Bet. Okay. So now I'm in a match, and I'm like, my opponent always presses this twice. You cannot have bad habits in this game. If you have bad habits, you will get them deleted versus somebody that's actually actively paying attention to the match. Actively paying attention to the match. And I want to note, because I did forget one thing that I wanted to talk about is universal overhead. Because some people's dash attacks, they do have overheads or lows or something like that. But universal overhead is very important. Super, super important. Because some characters have different range. Like Jubei's universal overhead is like actually ridiculous. Like look at how far that's hitting. Versus how Maru's, it doesn't have as much reach. But he can hit you from like right about here. So universal overhead, very important for opening your opponent up. Just to note, universal overheads are generally super unsafe where somebody can actually get a combo on you or a good button in. But from tip range, like Jubei doing this is like not that bad. You see what I mean? Like I can dash attack, but like at max distance, it's not that bad. So that's just to keep in mind. But to go back to timing. So Jubei is doing this every time. I'm a smart player. I block and then I block that. Then I deflect, right? Timing. What if Jubei does this? See what I mean? He threw off the timing. Now it's a mind game when he'll actually press his buttons. If you're able to actively do this, in this game, you are a very, very threatening player. So characters, even with long range pokes that are susceptible to getting deflected, it doesn't matter if you throw off your timing. If you throw off your timing, then no, your opponent can't read you, meaning they cannot deflect you because deflect is a read. There's very little things that you can react to like on reaction and deflect them. There are some things in this game that you can reactionary deflect, but it's not a lot of moves. But my point is being able to throw off your timing is one of the most important things. So not always pressing the same button twice. Sometimes pressing this button, then just walking back and forth, seeing what your opponent does. Dash up, see what your opponent does. When you dash up, does your opponent jump? Every time I dash up, does my opponent jump back? So I dash up, boom, I read him. Dash up, stop. Dash up again. I read him. Does your opponent dodge every time you run up? So now, every time I run up, he's looking for the throw. What do? Now I run up, stop. Big punish. Run, stop. Heavy. Because now I'm focusing on how you react when I run at you. Run, stop is the most dangerous thing in Samurai Shodown, period. Run, stop. You can literally assess every situation on the screen by run stop. But there is a weakness to run stop. The weakness to run stop is your opponent knowing you want to run stop every time. Because if I run stop and my opponent's like, oh, you like to run stop? Bet. Run stop. Thank you. Run stop. Thank you. Run stop. Thank you. Because now you're standing there. You are literally stationary. You're literally stationary. So run stop is not the best option all the time, but it is one of the most powerful options in the game. But that also adds a mind game because now I run stop and I feel like you're going to throw me. And guess what? You run stop. So now you run stop and we both run stop. So now we're in this mind game, right? So this mind game that we created is more at a high level now because both players are thinking. If you're just actively doing things, there's no like high level thinking going on. There's just actions going on. But that's the problem in Sam Show. You can't have like actions without purpose, like, or without meaning, because everything that you do needs to be some type of meaning. Because if you, like I said, if you just turn off your brain and you're like boom boom, you're just mashing buttons, boom boom, and then I just SSM you, then you die. You know what I'm saying? So you have to definitely know what you're doing and think about the moves that you're putting on the screen. Because if you're just doing shit in this game, you're not going to survive. You have to really have meaning behind the buttons you press. You have to have meaning behind the actions that you make. And while you could say, hey, Nash, I feel like that's every fighting game. It is every fighting game, but every fighting game does not punish you as severely as this fighting game. That's the difference. No fighting game where it's like, oh, you get deflected, you losing 70%, 80%. Like, that's not in any fighting game right now. All active fighting games, it's not like that. Street Fighter 6 is not going to be like that. Tekken 8, it's not going to be like that. Where you just instantly lose your life by, like, a read. It's like a different type of, like, situation in those games. It's not as punishing as a game like this, where if you have a bad habit, I can just deflect you, you know? Like, that's the thing. So that's gonna be like a very important part. So like I said, if you didn't pay attention to any part today, make sure you pay attention to that, because like button timing is like super important as well. Super important. Air to air in every game. Yo, Joey with the big rate of 18, I appreciate you. In every game, air to air is going to be different, right? Some games is going to be like really good. Some games is going to be like whatever. You're not really going to rely on it. Like a game like Street Fighter 6, like you're not going to really rely on air to air all the time. Like it's just whatever. You're probably going to just ground it anti-air, or potentially like dash under or walk under crosscut, something like that. In a game like this, air to air is very important, because not every character has a DP. Not every character has a good anti-air. Not every, like even Jubei. Jubei does not have a traditional anti-air. Like he doesn't have a crouch. This is his crouch fierce. Like he doesn't have like a crouch fierce to anti-air you like a Nakaruru. That man has to jump at you and go air to air with these long range pokes or run under you. Now he does have 6-6C. Jubei had 6-6C, but this is more of like, hey, you jumped back, damn, I hit you. Damn, he jumped forward, damn, I hit you. Those type of anti-airs. But like a reactionary anti-air, he does not have that. Now he has a counter. He can counter your jump and attack. He can counter your jump and attack. But if you empty jump that counter, he's dead. You see what I mean? Let me see. Like that. He can counter, but if you try to rely on that and I jump and you do that, you're going to get cooked. So it's just too risky. Like him doing that, you're just cooked. Because all of that is recovery. Like all of that whole thing is recovery. I'm showing you the recovery. You see what I mean? So if I jump, he parries. Oh no, like I'm gonna see if you can SSM. Yeah, you can actually SSM him. You can actually, if he was relying on counter as an anti-air, I could empty jump him and then just SSM him. And he would die. And that's why you don't see somebody like Maki or somebody just countering jump ins like consistently, because I was like wondering, I was like, damn, I mean Jubei got a counter, why wouldn't you do it? But that's why, because if somebody empty jumps, he dies. They're not trying to take that risk, because in Sam Show you could lose so much of your life instantly that you don't want to just do super risky options all the time, and that would be a risky option to do. Now, is it okay to do it sometimes if somebody's just jumping on you like over and over? Hell yeah. Like throw it out there like once or twice, because it's the same with Wu. Wu can do the same thing. She can counter a jump in, but you just don't want to throw it out a lot, because you get into that habit of throwing it out and then bam, like your opponent empty jumps and now you die. So you have to be very careful. But like air to air is like really good in this game, because like if somebody jumps with you, you could just take them out the air, especially on reaction. Like if somebody, like let's say Jubei jumps and he's trying to do like a deep jump in, he jumps and I just like meet him in the air like that. Like that's gonna always be an option if I don't want to uppercut, because I can always just uppercut. So yeah, that's like an option. So air to air, depending on your character, is going to be very, very important. how good their air-to-air game is, because every character will differ in that regard. But some characters you won't even need to rely on air-to-air, because you could just uppercut or you could dash under and get a, get a good punish. I think, yeah, I pretty much covered everything, because Recoil Mind Games, I went over the Recoil Mind Games a little bit in the Recoil section of me just talking about Recoil. Recoil Mind Games is very important in this game. In general, just understanding what your options are off of Recoil, because like I said, Haomaru's Recoil is pretty good, because he can do that attack. It is unsafe, but it's like a good recoil, because the fact that I even put that button on your block, it's literally cranking your gauge to where you can get guard broken. So understanding your character's recoil options is pretty important. Every character is not good at recoil. I'm gonna tell you right now, probably like the best recoil character in the game off the top of my head is Hibiki, because she can just slash off of her recoil, and her C slash is safe on block, like -5. Like, so it's like impossible to stop her from just like C slashing. I mean, it has a gap, but if you challenge the gap, she could just do an actual slash. So she probably has like one of the better recoils in the entire game, if not the best in the game. Nakaru has really good recoil options, because she can do Mamaha clean off of her normals, so she can Mamaha cling. If you swing on the ground, she could just immediately dive on top of you with a button. So understanding like what your options are off of recoil are like super important. That's gonna differ from character to character depending on what character you are trying to play. So just pick your character, see what their recoil options are, and then go from there. Like Charlotte's recoil options suck. Generally you have to kind of like commit to unsafe uppercut. However, her B normals are so far that she probably will not get punished out here. Same with Haomaru, his B normal is so far that you can recoil out here pretty safely. It's when you start recoiling up close where you have to play more of a mind game of like the deflect, etc., etc. You cannot deflect special moves. So like moves where somebody swings at you, like even if it's like a slash, you cannot deflect those. If you try to deflect a special move, you'll get hit. That's another reason why Hibiki is really good, because if somebody tries to deflect, she can just hit them. So yeah, I think that's it, chat.